on $550,000 to get a credit of $71,000 is that's a huge saving.
You cannot cancel that and redraft one.
Right.
That would be tax evasion.
If somebody gets you, this price, or this one comes down $100,000, it's got to be in the conversation. Welcome to the TNT Real Estate Podcast, where we spark conversations that set you up for real estate success. I'm Tyler.
And I'm Tanya, and each week we bring you expert tips on navigating Northern Ontario's real estate market. Whether you're buying, selling, or investing, we've got the tools to help you thrive. Welcome back to the TNT Real Estate Podcast. Today we are talking about something that I'd say Tyler and myself are both learning about. And certainly it's something that's quite new but has big headlines. So the HST New Home Rebate, saving home buyers up to $130,000 on their home purchase. Which
is huge.
It's crazy.
It's a lot of money.
Yeah, it's big money.
It's unfortunate that the government did this almost in stages, because we'll get into it and we're going to be reading a lot because we don't want to misspeak on any of this stuff. But it's important to know that, there's actually three stages. So pre-2025, there was a stage that kind of everybody could get a rebate up to $24,000 on any new build, whether that's, a $500,000 new build condo in downtown Toronto or a $1.5 million monstrosity in Sudbury, Ontario. I was going to say Toronto, but Toronto's 1.5 probably isn't even a monstrosity.
That's like it's probably like a bungalow, in Toronto.
And so in 2025, the government came out and brought in the first time home buyers HST rebate, which means any first time home buyer, as long as you haven't bought a house, I mean, there's different kind of circumstances behind this, but if you haven't bought a house before, if you buy a new build, you will get your HST back.
And that was up to 1.5?
Yeah.
Was it up to 1.5?
It was up to 1.5.
Yeah.
And then, that finally passed in, I think it was March 12th of this year, and March 24th and 25th, both Doug Ford, Mark Carney came together and said, now this is going to apply to all home buyers. And so lots of people were confused on the timing because they're like, oh, we just got it. That's fantastic. And now it's something else, but we're not sure what else. Yeah. And this is what we are going to talk to you about today.
I think the reason behind it, not that I understand politicians really all that much, but that my understanding is that first-time home buyers incentive that they gave a year ago was not being used.
Right.
Like, how many first-time home buyers are looking at $1 million new construction home,
or looking at a
new construction anything, right? Because the
Absolutely.
prices are so high.
Yeah.
So in reality, bringing it to everybody, every new construction home was meant to spur construction, bring prices down, and to incentivize people to kind of move along and to create more housing.
Right. It's actually a good point. I saw a stat recently that said, out of all the people that bought a new construction house in Ontario, I think only the amount of first time home buyers was under 5%.
Yeah,
maybe 2% or something like that. It was crazy low.
Well, it's got to be crazy low because you think of it, first time home buyers are coming to the plate with so much saved and so much, hopes and dreams and everything. There's no way that you can afford a brand new construction home.
Right.
Well, the majority can't anyway.
Right.
So let's break down a little bit more on terms of who qualifies, how much everyone's going to save, and what everybody needs to know, because it is not open forever, right? The window will close on this program.
Mm-hmm. So I guess, so March 24th, 25th, they had an announcement. They were both together and they said, okay, this is what's going to happen. All home buyers, anybody that's buying a new construction house in Ontario is going to get the full 13% back. Yeah. Which is fantastic, especially, for those people, it's a game changer. We were talking about it in the office, and people often say, okay, do I go resale? Do I go, brand new? Brand new might be a little bit smaller, but then it's newer, so I don't have to worry about all the fixings and stuff. Or do I go resale? Typically, a little bit bigger. You don't have to worry about, dump trucks and backhoes because it's a established neighborhood, could be. And so this, I think, will have a huge benefit to somebody that's actually looking at a new construction property.
And in terms of our region and affecting the Northern Ontario or greater Sudbury region, I think it's really going to depend on how home builders respond and how the new home ticket prices change or don't change. Yeah. We've seen a little bit of both here.
The problem is nothing, like it hasn't been voted in, or it hasn't gone through, the first and second readings, and hasn't got royal assent. So it's not necessarily up in the air, because, with the first time home buyer rebate just got royal assent on March 12th, which made it, law. But they've kind of retroactively, they announced it a year ago, so they know that it's going to go through. They know that it's going to happen. It's just not actual legislation right now.
Right. And I think we were talking about in the office that it would be probably political suicide if they now renege on it and don't move forward. Certainly on the federal side, it's pretty easy with now that they have a majority government that they should move forward with, doing what they've announced. And I'm sure that the provincial government's going to want to move forward with it as well. So it's just a matter of time before it gets royal assent.
Yeah. So
let's hope.
Yeah. So let's start. Like, obviously we kind of talked about previous to all of these new legislations, we had a $24,000 credit that anybody could access through a rebate through the CRA. Now we move into 2025, into 2020, I think it was a 5 year. So 2025 to 2030 is the first time home buyers rebate that, if you're a first time home buyer, you can get up to 13%, the full amount. And that is within those 5 years. Now, explain to me what the deadline and the area is around this brand new one.
So this is a little bit tricky. So your purchase agreement to purchase the new construction home has to be signed between April 1st, 2026 and March 31st, 2027. Mm-hmm. So if you had a agreement of purchase and sale prior to April 1st on a new construction, you cannot cancel that and redraft one.
Right.
That would be tax evasion. So that's the key thing. So we have a 1 year period starting now and moving until the end of March 2027. Construction must begin on or before December 31st, 2028. So once you get that purchase agreement in play on March 31st, 2027, you would have a full year from then, almost full year from then, to begin construction. And then the home must be substantially completed on or before December 31st, 2031.
Right.
So that's a lot of time.
So, we don't have a lot of pre-construction properties or, buildings coming up in Sudbury. But
if there was, let's say, like a new development that's on the horizon and like maybe another phase of like, I don't know, Bonaventure or something, let's say, for example, maybe that's a year or two on the horizon, then you would be able to encourage people to get into these purchase contracts and start moving forward with commitment, which then will help home builders actually build the homes, right? Yep. Because it's hard for them to commit to building a new phase of a subdivision if they don't know what the demand is. Mm-hmm. So hopefully they'll sell those pre-construction and then begin those within the time period, which will create more housing, right? Which is what we need.
And I think it's important to note, like this just came out that we're, 3 weeks removed from this right now. And so we're talking to builders, our agents are talking to builders because they have people that want to buy, and it's kind of still up in the air on how to kind of move it. So obviously we put in our conditions into the offer that protects buyers and the developers as well, because they want to be able to, knock down the price by $130,000 to get their, inventory sold. Mm-hmm. But obviously it has to be done in the right way. And what it seems to be right now is that, previous to this, when it was the $24,000, you had to, apply to the CRA to get the rebate back. And then often, sometimes the developer would do it, sometimes the buyer would have to do it. This seems like it's just an adjustment right on closing. Like they don't even have to worry about it. It's almost like you're buying a resale home where it's not even talked about. It's just gone. It's just not there at all. Yeah.
Yeah. Another key factor is that the home must be used as a primary residence or a residential rental property. So this does not apply to Airbnbs. It's not meant to drive hotel business, short-term rentals. It's meant to develop housing, so long-term housing, either your own or somebody else's that you're providing.
Right. So yeah, I mean, investors, this is, very important for the investors out there that obviously are either buying or, looking at building as well. Like this could be a game changer for investors as well, which is nice. Okay. So this is all mumbo jumbo. It's all confusing.
It's all mumbo jumbo.
It's confusing to us as practitioners. I'm assuming confusing to some of the builders as well. Now we saw a couple of the builders actually reduce their price, which is nice. And we've talked to, a couple agents that represent builders that, sounds like even more is coming. But it's like, it's kind of there. And,
so far it doesn't really feel like it's the full 13% that we're seeing discounted.
Right.
Maybe it's like $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 depending on the purchase price of that home.
Right.
But it's certainly right at this point doesn't seem like it's a full 13% reduction. But we have to take into consideration actually here in Sudbury, most home builders had the HST included in the purchase price, but with that $24,000 up to rebate signed back to the builder. So they already had that credit sort of worked into their sale price, and now they've got to adjust for that as well. So it'll be interesting.
So they're just
to
dropping
see.
it from the 24,000 up until the 13% is what they're dropping it at. Okay.
It seems that way. I'm not sure how they're doing their math. The math isn't where I'm mathing.
Yeah. Well, I was listening to another podcast, the Top Story podcast, and they were kind of alluding to builders dropping it a little bit, but they're also upping their revenue on these buildings because it's supposed to be going straight to the buyers, but if they just drop it, $50,000, so somebody's like, oh my God, this is a great deal. Let's do it. And then also, getting the extra, 7% or whatever is still built into the price. Yep. So, I mean, it has to be, we have to protect our clients as buyers agents. And so putting in, a lawyer review or, talk to your accountant to make sure we're doing it all the right way.
But I mean, the purchase price is the purchase price. Is the buyers willing to pay that purchase price?
Right.
That's fine. As long as they're not lying in their pockets. Okay, so let's get into the numbers.
Yeah. Okay, so the first scenario is a $550,000 new build, which would get you basically a side-by-side or a semi-detached in New Sudbury. There's a couple deals going on right now. So before March 25th of this year, you'd have, if you're a repeat buyer, you'd have a $24,000 max rebate. After April 1st of this year, all buyers would get $71,500, which would be a $44,000 provincial rebate and a $27,500 federal rebate.
Right.
And so, on $550,000 to get a credit of $71,000 is a huge savings.
Almost $50,000 more. It's $47,500 more.
Right.
On the same house.
That is huge.
That is huge.
That would be.
I hope those savings are passed down to the buyers.
Right. So that brings your $550 purchase. If the rebate was already, in there, that brings you down to, $510,000.
Right. Or if it was priced at $600,000+, then it brings you back down to that sort of $550 range, which is kind of what we're seeing for new Sudbury semis. They're kind of more like $600,000, $630,000.
Yeah.
So hopefully that'll bring the prices down.
Yeah. It could allow a lot more people. I mean, two decent paying jobs would get you, approved for that amount. So I think that could be huge. Okay. Now, scenario number 2, let's move up to $800,000 new detached home, which is it's getting harder and harder to find in Sudbury to have a detached brand new build for $800,000. But there are some out there, I would say. So obviously 13% of $800,000 is $104,000 of savings. So, if you're a repeat buyer before March, you had a $24,000 rebate. After April 1st of this year, all buyers would get $104,000 rebate. I guess it's adjusted, so I should probably stop saying rebate or credit. It gets adjusted on closing, it sounds like. So $104,000 off of $800,000 purchase seems pretty reasonable.
So does that mean that the $900,000 house in Moonglow,
right,
that's being constructed, it had to take a price of $900,000 because the HST was included in? Does that pretty much plus or minus mean that it's going to be an $800,000 purchase for that home buyer?
Yeah.
Minus maybe plus that $24,000 credit back, right?
Yeah. So
So maybe $824,000, let's say. If it was $900,000, maybe it's $824,000 now.
Yeah, which I think is huge. And I mean,
That
if
would
you're
be huge.
if you're comparing, apples to apples, saying like let's say a resale Moonglow, you're gonna get definitely a bigger house than the new builds that they're buying. But if you can, live in maybe 500, 1,000 square feet less and have not to worry about anything for years and years. I think
plus you get
more
to design it, make it your own.
Yeah, I think more people are definitely at least open to the possibility of buying a new construction.
Yeah. I think this will really help new construction move a lot faster.
Yeah.
And then in that sense, you have people moving up to new construction, bringing more resale homes on the market, which is what we need.
Right.
Okay.
No, I mean, if we want to do the last scenario, which is probably the easiest math, $1 million, $1 million new build, which you can get in Sudbury now. 13% of $1 million is obviously $130,000, which is the maximum that you could get off. So before as a repeat buyer, you're $24,000 done. Now all buyers are $130,000 off of $1 million purchase price, which is huge.
That's amazing.
I mean, it will be amazing. Now that's the ceiling. So the ceiling is $1 million. It does go up to 1.5. So that same 13% of $1 million, or I should say $130,000. If you're buying at 1.5 million, it's still $130,000. After you get to 1.85, that drops back to $24,000.
Okay, so completely eliminated.
All of you wealthy
really rich people
that are building a custom home on Ramsey or on Long Lake, you have $24,000 a rebate. But if you keep that build under 1.5 million, you can still get 130,000.
Right.
That's rough. It's rough for the rich out there.
Yeah, it's terrible. Yeah. Those poor people. Okay, so we're just learning about this, and it's going to be a little bit nuanced for a little while. Getting it wrong could be expensive, and certainly it's important for us to understand every detail. The window of timing is what's very important.
Right.
So from April 1st this year, so now until March 31st, 2027.
Best day of the year.
Yes. 27, is that your birthday?
No, I thought it was 31st. Isn't it
March 31st. Yeah, sorry.
March 31st is the best day of the year, of course.
2027. Yeah. But outside that window, still the old rules apply. So what do you think we're talking about, sort of best protection for buyers?
Yeah. I mean, the number one thing is to talk to the builder itself. Like if you're interested in one of that specific, it doesn't matter if it's a Dalron or a Zulich or a Saldan or a SLV, you have to talk to the builder and see how they're reacting to this. Because I'm assuming they're probably talking internally as well and saying, okay, I'm going to be doing this. You should probably do it as well. But I mean, that's step number one, is seeing how they're doing it. Right. Step number two is having protection for yourself. So put in your offer, whether it's a lawyer's review, an accountant's review, making sure, like, we as realtors sell property and we know a lot about this, but we could not know the fine details of this, especially when
the tax implications is really something that
huge.
We are not experts in.
Right.
As much as we try to educate ourselves and understand this, it's important that you have a tax professional look things over to make sure it works for you and your situation.
Right.
Because everybody's different.
Right. And I mean, it's difficult. So they passed this and then said, or they announced it, and then 6 days later they're like, yeah, it starts in 6 days. It's great. But like, it didn't go through any readings, no royal assent. They did this. I mean, Doug Ford did this last year as well and said, the HST is going to be off for first time home buyers. It's going to apply from this date, basically, when he announced it. It took a year to get royal assent, which was March 12th of this year. But all of those months are still credited. So as long as they're doing it in the same way, same aspect, I don't see any issues coming up, as long as there's communication between you, your trusted professionals, and the developer.
Yeah. And maybe when you're writing your offer and when your lawyer reviews it, maybe they want to put in some kind of clause there to protect you just before the closing, just to make sure all your dates line up and that the closing date is confirmed to be within that window, which is until 2030 or 2031.
Yeah.
They're going to advise you, and we can always add those details in an amendment for you.
Right. Okay, so what should Sudbury buyers do now? We kind of talked about this, but to make sure you're just educated, make sure you're working with, an agent. Ask your agent if they've sold a new construction project before. Maybe they haven't. Whether you don't necessarily need to leave that agent and find an agent that has, but just make sure that they have the resources in their office to handle those and make sure they're getting the actual right information. And then, lawyer review, accountant review.
Yeah.
Just make sure you have your ducks in a row, especially moving forward, especially on these big purchases. Like it's a lot of money floating around. And if you are not prepared for it, you could also get stuck.
Yeah. But a lot of people I find in the last few years have been sitting on the fence with respect to new construction because we saw the prices of new construction just escalate so rapidly during COVID and post-COVID, of course, with building supplies and labor costs going up dramatically. People have been sitting on the fence. So maybe if you've been sitting on the fence for a few years and you've been contemplating a new construction, maybe now is the time to really start digging into like what the savings are and what it's going to mean for you financially.
And even if you're talking about, building a house, like if you can, it's, it takes a long time to do this, but if you can get into contract with a builder that's going to build your custom home now in the next year, like this is a huge savings. So it's not just, going to a developer and buying their product. If you're thinking about building, I guess it also applies to heavily renovated, resale properties as well, where HST implications can come in. But obviously those are even more nuanced than going to a developer and buying a house. But
yeah, that you definitely want confirmation on whether it's HST applicable.
Right. So I think it's all of this is great news, but it's also you need to do your due diligence and work with professionals on it. I
wonder if it would apply, because if it applies to substantially renovated homes, it probably doesn't apply to those that were converted from, let's say, commercial, like an Airbnb, like a short-term rental into a long-term rental, because there's always that tax implication there when you switch from one use to the other. Okay, again, this is not tax or accounting advice.
This is off the cuff now.
Yes.
Okay, you want to do some rapid fire?
Yeah, let's do it. Jeez, not prepared.
All right.
You start.
All right. Tanya, my builder said that the price already includes HST, so there's nothing to save.
Oh, gosh. So hard. It's so hard. Do you want to pay that price that the builder's advertising? Then it is what it is. The builder can put whatever price they want forward and say that HST is not included, because we know it's not included anymore.
But the HST is also on top of that pricing structure, so they should be reducing the price because it's built in. The only reason it's built into that price is because they're getting a rebate after the fact.
Yes.
So they technically should be reducing the price by almost 13%, give or take the 24. Yeah.
No, I agree. Yeah. I know. But the builders are going to be the builders. And if you want that house, sometimes you're going to have to pay it. Okay.
Right.
My turn. Okay. So I've bought before, so I figured I don't qualify.
Not anymore. So this applies, the HST rebate applies in 2026 to 2027 to all buyers, which is fantastic. Now, I would even say there are circumstances, and don't quote me on this, but I think if you haven't owned, I'll look straight into the camera now. But like you would also qualify to be a first-time home buyer if you were living out of the country or you haven't owned a house in 5 years. I think that actually resets, and it would make you eligible to be a first-time home buyer. Right. But in this case, anybody that buys new construction, doesn't matter, first-time home buyer, if you bought 17 houses already, you get the rebate. So it's not that big of a deal right now.
True.
All right. Tanya, I've heard that the federal part isn't passed yet, so it might not happen.
Oh, yes. Might not happen, but it's political suicide if it doesn't happen.
And Carney just got his, as of 2 days ago, his majority, so sounds like it'll happen.
It'll happen. Okay, so I'm going to wait and see if they extend the program past March 2027.
That's fantastic. You should not wait. You should not wait. You should buy, because there's no guarantees. It could happen. If it goes off and it's fantastic, everybody's actually using it, it could be a really good thing, and they could extend it. But what we know about governments is they like their money. So how long are they actually willing to stop getting $130,000 on every sale?
Yeah.
Which is a lot of money. They shouldn't be getting that anyways. This is my opinion. I'm going to be a little controversial here, but you do what you got to do, I guess. Okay. We were thinking about resale anyways, Tanya. I don't even want to look at new builds.
Resale can be a great option, but I'd say let's look at both and just make your decision equally. Yeah.
If somebody could hand you you won't get $100,000 check, but I'm just saying, if somebody gets you, this price, or this one comes down $100,000, It's got to be in the conversation. It's got to be in the conversation.
Resale houses are so much bigger. Yeah. I understand where they're coming from.
I don't want to see a dump truck drive by my house every day. Well, that's fine, but
some people like established neighborhoods. I like trees. Okay, so there you go. I probably would never move into a new neighborhood.
Right.
Okay, where am I? Can I get this on an investment property?
Yes, you can. It's got to fit in. You got to be eligible. The property has to be eligible, but it sounds like you can get it on investment properties for sure. Tanya, our mortgage broker, didn't mention any of this to us.
Okay. Well, your mortgage broker handles the financing, but doesn't necessarily know all the tax implications. Let's get your accountant involved and make sure that we have all our bases covered. Here's
the business card to your new mortgage broker. Just kidding. Okay, let's do one more. You did the last one.
Okay. We bought a resale home last month. Do we qualify?
Too late. Actually, if you bought a new construction last month, you still would not qualify. But it's for new construction only, no resale, unfortunately. And yeah, if you bought last month, I feel bad for the guy that bought their new construction in March, because it doesn't look like you can get out of it. Tax evasion, they'll come knocking. Unless the builder has some sort of special eligibility. I don't know how to do it. I don't know. You should talk to your lawyer about that one too.
Yes. Not us.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So yeah, I mean, if you take one thing from this, it's a huge opportunity for somebody that's actually looking for a new construction. $130,000 on, actually, I guess it's 1.5 million and under, but really $1 million bucks. You get all of your HST back. It's real. And it seems like it's happening now. And if you are thinking about buying a new construction, or if you're thinking, it's a little bit more than my, resale price, look into it, ask a professional, get educated, because I think it it's if I was looking for a new house right now, it's definitely on my mind for sure. Yeah.
And it's good for 1 year almost from now. So now's a good time to do your research, do your due diligence, get into it, and discover if it's meant for you.
Yeah. So if you're thinking about it, if you've thought about HST, if you hate HST like the rest of us, you should send this to somebody that you know. You should subscribe to our channel, and you should also like this. So thank you very much for watching, and we will see you next time.